So I just got some parcels and I'm going to open them up with you. So this is a bag I bought off Depop this week. It got here really quickly, which is amazing because I've had some bad experiences on Depop and I actually sell on there myself. I'm not really doing it at the moment, but I am thinking to clean out my wardrobe soon. So I'll link my Depop in the description below if you want to keep an eye out. I was just looking for a bag in this style because I really like the stand oil one. It is pretty expensive for that bag. Not the best quality ever, obviously. And I don't know what brand this is because there's nothing in here to indicate where it's from. But for me, that's okay. It's just going to be like an extra kind of everyday bag. And I really like these little bows and the little pockets because I take so much stuff everywhere, so I always need lots of space. I accidentally opened this upside down, but which was a bit annoying. This parcel is from Regal Rose, who is a brand that I do work with, so I have picked up some items here. I love that they always send a silver polishing cloth. In here I've got two items. Firstly, I've got the Fortress Medieval Choker, and I also got a ring that I've been looking at for a while. It's the Anonymity ring, which has the Lover's Eye, which is so cute. That's another Victorian motif I'm really in love with. I was worried about the diamantes because I really don't like things with diamonds or diamantes. It's just not really my style, but these are pretty subtle, so I'm quite happy with this one. This coffin jewelry box is also from Regal Rose, and I really love putting all my rings in here. I took this with me overseas and on my last trip. You would think it would be like bulky, but it's actually like very small and just very convenient for storing everything. So I'll put this one in here as well. relaxing birthday yesterday. Just spent the day with my boyfriend and my sister. Just ate a lot of food, and I bought some books which are here, which I'm going to show you really soon. I ended the night just at home eating a pasta and watching some true crime documentaries, which is really perfect. And it was pretty hot yesterday, so I was really tired at the end of it. Today is raining and I'm really happy. It was the first day of autumn yesterday. Also, it is still, quite warm here, but it's getting better. And I feel like I just have been complaining so much about summer in these last few videos, but no surprise, I am not a summer girl. I am looking forward to winter and wearing all of my winter clothes and being cozy. But before I get into the books that I've been reading, I wanted to go through some of my lipsticks, because in my last video I was out shopping and I showed some lipsticks that I was looking at, and some of you asked me to share some of my favorites, so I'm gonna go through some of those now. This bag looks huge, but there aren't that many in there. I've just selected a few, so I'll just go through a couple of them. So the first one I'm going to show you here are the Maybelline Superstay Vinyl Inks. As you can see, I've got quite a collection. I actually have more. So these are my favorite go-to lip products, just because they really do stay on for a long time. When it comes to lip products, I have like a bit of a sensory issue with some of them. I hate lip glosses because they're really sticky and gross, but when I wear these, I find that they just feel like they're not there. So these four are like my everyday lip one, going from lightest to darkest. This one, Peachy, I would like wear to work if I just want a little bit of color, and then the other three, maybe just ones that I will wear on the weekend. And then I've got these two for more when I'm going to something special maybe. And for some of these, I actually had to get them online or overseas, because unfortunately in Australia, when we get lip products released here from brands like this, we don't get every single product. This is one product that I pretty much always have in my bag. It's the Fat Oil by NYX in the shade In a Mood. I just bought this like on a whim from a chemist and I really liked it, and I am very much low maintenance girl when it comes to makeup. I don't like wearing a lot of makeup. Just personally, I find it really annoying, and I find like this I can just pop on when I'm out, and it's pretty mess free. Another product I'll take with me pretty much everywhere, and I do take like multiple lip products out with me, which I know some people are going to think is crazy, is this one, Clinique Black Honey, which is pretty famous. I actually find that this NYX one is kind of like a dupe for it, and I actually bought this one because it's apparently what was used on Liv Tyler when she played Arwen in Lord of the Rings. I do think you need to build it up a lot, and I like to mix a lot of my products as well, which I'll get into in a bit, but a really great product. These are two lip pencils from MAC that I love to use, and I will layer up with other products. So this one is Night Moth. I apologize for how blunt and gross this looks right now. I could not find my sharpener in time to do this video. This one I bought because it's actually what Jenna Ortega wore in the Wednesday series, and I really love all of her looks in that show and her makeup. So I bought this after I found out that was the one she used, and I find that goes really well with the darker tone lipsticks that I have like these. I also have this one, which is Spice by MAC. This is just like another kind of like peachy one that I will wear just on regular days. Speaking of peachy products, this is another favorite of mine. This is a Dior one in the number 808. I used to be really into peachy ones. I find they are really good just for like if I'm not really sure what to wear. I think the applicator, I believe, is meant to be like a petal. It is a little fragrance, which annoys me, but the color does really stay. This is a lip product that I get asked about a lot whenever I wear it. So I got this last year in Malaysia. It's from the brand, I don't know if you can see that, it's called YOU. It's a Simplicity Cotton Lip Clay in the color Rich Vine. So I can't get this here, so I bought two. I believe this brand is Indonesian. It's just like a really nice dark kind of red. It is a bit matte. You may notice from seeing these, if you're into makeup, I don't wear a lot of matte colors. I just find like, the texture really annoys me and I get dried out pretty quickly. So this is like a kind of like velvety, but it's really nice. So if you can get access to this brand, I highly recommend it. I find like even when I was in Malaysia, it was so hot, but I was wearing this every day and it really stuck on. And the last two I'm going to show you are lip stains. So I used to wear a lot of lip stains when I was younger, but yeah, again, like now I've gotten older, I just find them like kind of annoying. But I found these in Japan and I really liked the color, so I wanted to give them a go. So this one's by the brand Romand. It's the Juicy Lasting Tint. I think it was like Plum Coke or something though. I went to like a few different stores in Japan to find this because it kept selling out. Another kind of dark red, but I would say with this, like because it's more of a tint, when you put it on, it doesn't come out that dark. You've got to like layer it with other products as well. So this is from the brand Dinto. Today I'm wearing Night Lip Pencil. And then I've got the fat oil, and then I've layered this on top. This is the Blur Glowy Lip Tint, and this shade is called Memento Mori, which is really cool. Very nice, another dark color. And I would say that this does go on a lot darker than the other one. So that is all of my favorite lip products. How many lip products does a girl need, I guess? I am always on the lookout for new ones. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know. Now I'm going to get into what I've been reading lately, and also I'm going to show you my birthday book haul. I'll start off with books that I have finished or started reading since my last video. So My Darling Dreadful Thing I finished, which was my Patreon book club read for February. I can't really remember what I said last time. I was enjoying it. I did quite like it. In the end though, I gave this book a 3 out of 5. It did kind of disappoint me. There were some loopholes at the end of the book for me, and things seemed quite rushed and just didn't make a lot of sense, and I didn't really like the ending. But the writing was great. I think it is a very unique book. To give anything away, but I really liked the idea of spirit companions in this. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, just a few things that kind of left me wanting more at the end. And just to explain my rating system really quickly, because everybody has their own kind of thing. For me, when I give a book 5 stars, that will be something that's like really top of the rank for me. So books that I will read over and over again and that I would recommend to anyone and I just love. 4 stars are books that I really enjoyed but maybe I wouldn't read again. 3, just something a bit average, like not too bad but not amazing. And 2 is something that I didn't like. I would never give a book a 1 star. I just feel too bad to do that, but maybe those would be books that I didn't even finish. So after I finished My Darling Dreadful Thing, I decided very randomly to read The Poisoner by Ivy Ophelia. I don't like romance books, so I'm going to preface this by saying that this is not my type of genre. I do like to branch out every once in a while, but I have a pretty good idea of the books I'm going to like. I can be surprised like everybody else, and this book was recommended to me so many times on Instagram. It was on my radar for a while, so I thought, okay, I'm just randomly gonna pick this one up. Unfortunately, this book I really did not like, and this one is a 2 star for me. I would never say that I regret reading a book, because even if I really don't like a book or you know, I end up hating it, I think there's still value in reading different things. Though this was not a favorite read for me, which is why I've given it such a low rating. At the start, I didn't mind it, which is why I kept going, because these days, if I really don't like something, I will just stop reading it. I used to really force myself to finish books just for the sake of it, but I don't do that anymore. So something about this book did intrigue me. Something happened at the end, which was pretty terrible. I don't have any triggers when reading books. I'll pretty much read anything, but the thing that happened at the end of this book just made no sense to me, and I don't really understand why it was put in, and the ending of the whole book just really annoyed me, to be honest. Feel bad to say bad things about books, because I think it's an amazing achievement for anybody to write a novel, and I consider books to be art. So I do feel bad as somebody who hasn't written a book to judge somebody else's writing, but I want to be honest in my reviews and say that I would not recommend this book. It is a vampire romance. There is a lot of spice in this book. I don't mind a little bit in books, and I would say in compared to other spicy books I've read, it didn't have that much. The level of spice in this is not huge, but it is a big part of the book because it is a romance story. There were some things I liked about this. I thought the writing was okay for about the first half of the book. I thought the protagonist was really interesting because she is a poisoner, but everything about the time period it's set in was really confusing to me. Apparently this is set in the Victorian era or somewhere close to that timeline. It just really seemed kind of inaccurate. A lot of the things there did not make sense. So just again, I don't read these books usually, so take my review with a grain of salt. If you are going to read this book, I would say to definitely check out the trigger warnings, because even though the authors put some at the start, I don't think they were very clear it, and I think if I knew there was this kind of scene at the end, I probably wouldn't have read this book. But it's all right. I read the whole thing, and yeah, I really did not enjoy this in the end. So now I'm going to get into the books yesterday that I got for my birthday. These are pretty much all from my favorite secondhand bookstore, but also some came from Savers. I have been gatekeeping that bookstore for years, just because I love it so much. The owners always have all the books I'm looking for, but I'm also really happy to share it because I think they deserve recognition for just stocking such amazing secondhand books. The first one I got is the Gilda Stories by Jill Gomez, and this is a book that I've had on my radar for a while. I heard about this a few years ago, but I've just never been able to find a copy. So I was so thrilled that I just happened to go to that store yesterday and it was there waiting for me. So this is a vampire story, and I believe this book has been around for a while. So this book was published in 1991. So yeah, it's an older vampire book, but to be honest, I prefer older vampire books, especially ones from this time. So I'm really excited to read this book soon. The next book I got was The Prague Cemetery by Umberto Eco, and I've never read anything by this author before. I know he's written The Name of the Rose, and I do want to read that one. It just kind of caught my eye, and so it's set in 19th century Europe. That kind of sounds right up my alley, and I don't know much else about this book, so just a kind of random pickup for me, but if you've read this book, let me know. So the next book I picked up was The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry, and I first became familiar with this author last year or the year before when I read her book Melmoth, and that's related to one of my favorite Gothic classics, Melmoth the Wanderer. So I really enjoyed that one by her, and I also heard about this book because I know there's a series now with Tom Hiddleston and Claire Danes, I think, which I wanted to watch. I'm always somebody who will read the book first before watching series adaptations. So this is set in the 1800s in London. It seems like it's got a bit of a Gothic vibe also. And how pretty is this cover? I've seen this book before, but I was looking for this particular edition, so I'm really happy that I found it secondhand. So the last book I picked up is something totally random that I've never even heard of before. It's called The Crimson Petal and the White by Michelle Faber. So the cover just kind of caught my attention, and then once I read about what it's about, I just really wanted to give it a go. So this is about the dark side of Victorian London, and I believe it centers around a prostitute who is looking to move up in society, and then some things happen. So that pretty much sums up my little birthday book haul. I am now reading Let the Right One In, finally. I've had this copy for so long and I've wanted to read it for ages, so I finally picked it up. I only read just a tiny bit, but I'm really intrigued to see what happens. We will also be reading Victorian Psycho by Virginia Feydeau in my Patreon book club this month. That is our book that won the poll for March. I'm really excited to get into that book. I've got really high hopes, so hopefully it will live up to my expectations. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you to my Patreon supporters for supporting me and reading with me and chatting with me. I really love the little community that we've built. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.